Welcome to the game of real estate. I'm your host, Jason Rash. I'm taking you on my journey from $0 to $100 million in real estate sales. Let's go. Welcome back to the game of real estate. I'm your host, Jason Rash, and the purpose of this podcast is to take you on the journey of my journey of real estate. I started in real estate in Palm Beach. I've met a lot of amazing people along the way, and I want to bring you on the journey, and I want to introduce all of you to the people that have impacted me on this journey. I've got somebody in the house today. He's doing real estate at a very high level, Tony Hernandez. Now, what the thing about Tony is, like, I've seen his brand grow over the last 18 months of just being in real estate. Like, it's starting to blow up for you, so to speak, right? As the kiddos say. But what inspired me, the reason why I want you to bring it on the show is you said something at an event we were at that we're going to talk about, that you flipped 86 homes in 1 year, which, number one, that's incredible. And number two, you said that you built out a property with that money and you made more money just in that one build out than all the 86 flips alone. I was like, I got to have this guy on my podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent, my brother. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I'm glad to see you hustling, doing your thing, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. So the thing about you is you're becoming the number one Palm Beach waterfront builder, like for luxury property. And I'm talking $10 million and above. And there's not a lot of people that can play in that arena, man. I mean, that's what people see now, and myself included. Take me back to the beginning. How did you get started in this? Like back to the very, very beginning.
Well, I appreciate that, but there's a lot of big guys doing a lot of big stuff. So I appreciate you saying that, but we live in an amazing place. Palm Beach County is one of a kind. So there are some big dog builders doing some big dog stuff. So, you know, I'm building 10, 20, $30 million houses, but there's guys building 50, 60, 70, $100 million houses. So wow. I appreciate that compliment, and there's room for us all to grow, which is amazing. So I am growing, and it's because I have a great team, and trying to do things by yourself, that's where everybody tries to go wrong. Yeah. You know, being successful in life is not an I thing. It's a we thing. You know, it's your vibe will attract your tribe. Yeah. You know, I'm a believer in that, but you know, what exactly was your question? I'm sorry. I didn't want to take the credit of being the big dog when I see the big dogs, you know, because in life, if you want to be something, find somebody that's doing it and just watch, copy, be a part of it. You did that. And that's why I'm here. You know, we met, you were like, this dude's doing it. I'm not just sitting on my ass waiting for things to happen. Yeah. And most people, they wait and they're wondering, why not me? Because you just got to try, you know? Yeah. You can only listen to so many podcasts. You got to actually go out there and try. Yeah. You know, and it's okay to fail. That's how you learn. But if you get people that know what you're trying to do and you ask them and you follow and you try, that's how you learn. And we can all do it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we got connected through, you know, I'm with Illustrated right now. I got connected through Daniel, and you know, he's like, listen, you got to connect with this guy named Tony. He's going to call you. He literally, I'm going down the interstate. I'll never forget that moment. Either I reached out to him or somehow my wife put the idea in my head, like, hey, you need to find somebody that's connected with your real estate company and find out somebody who's building homes. And I reached out to Daniel, since obviously I'm from Alabama and he's from Alabama. I was like, maybe he can help me out. And I get a call going down the interstate, and he's like, I've talked to the guy named Tony. He's going to call you, or you're going to call him, or something like that. And he's waiting for your phone call. I think that's what he said. And I was like, okay, man. And I remember the conversation. I'm going south down 95, and I get on the phone with you. And from what I remember, the conversation went something like this. Maybe you remember it a little bit differently than me, but I was like, hey, you know, I just started in real estate. I'm an investor. I've done some things, you know, some big things in my life, but here's what I'd love to partner with you on something and videotape your properties. And I remember you saying, listen, I got all the people that do all that great drone fancy stuff, and it's amazing and it looks great, but what are you going to do that's different? And I was like, well, I think I want to bring personality to your properties. I want to call out all those nerdy details. I'm really big into the nerdy details. And then I remember you saying to me, like, okay, meet me here at this property at a certain amount of time. And we talked for a few more minutes. And that was about it. And then I show up not knowing who you are. And then you just start rattling. We talked for like, shook hands and then you just went right into it. You were just like, all right, so here's what we've got here. And I'm like, whoa. I pull out my phone and I'm just like typing as fast as I can possibly type all the nerdy details and specs, man. And, but what I wanted to say, man, like you gave me a shot, like you gave me a shot, like, and it's like
you'll never find a successful person on the planet Earth that is not willing to help, because nobody got successful by themselves. Once again, it's a group effort. It's a team. They realize that you can't do it by yourself. So game recognizes game. When someone sees someone grinding and hustling and being like, hey, what can I do? A successful person is going to be like, oh, well, this is what you do, or this is how you can do it, or why would people, you want to see people win. I named my company High Tide Waterfront Properties. A rising tide rises all boats. I want every single person to win. I want the person buying my house to win. I want the person building my house to win, which is now my sister's my GC, which makes my heart so happy. I want, my pool guy to win. I want the drywaller to win. I want the guy picking up the trash to win. I want every guy and gal and every person involved in my life that comes into contact with me to win. It's a simple fact, because if everybody's winning, then everybody is feeling good and doing good, because money is not real. It is the byproduct of doing good and being good. And if you can get your life and your head into a space where all you're doing is helping your fellow man and trying to get down to the root of how can I help you, and money is not the root of why I'm helping you, but I'm helping you to help you, money is going to hit you in the head like a brick, because it's literally going to be the byproduct of you just doing good and sharing your love. My love is real estate, and I want to show people that us as realtors, our job is to show our friends and our family. Like, a lot of people have been taught real estate sales, I think, in a different way. The way that I would teach people in real estate is say, it's our job to show our friends and family that they have to buy assets. Because if you don't buy assets, you're just going to continue to live your life and spend whatever your income is, and you're going to go around the Monopoly board over and over again and only collect your $200.
That's so powerful right there. Like, that is unbelievably powerful, because, you get people that are locked in thinking that I need to always grab that low hanging fruit or that hot stock tip or that, or this car or whatever, go shopping on Amazon is going to make me happy. But in reality, like, my wife and I, we own assets. We own a lot of assets, right? And it's just, but it took a lot of discipline to get that, right? Like, do I part with this money now? You know what I mean? Or do I just go out and spend money on what feels good in the moment?
So every time I get paid, I try to buy two new houses, and I buy my wife a piece of jewelry. And the reason is
smart man.
I want my wife to look like one of those African princesses where their neck is like 6 feet long, because she's got so many jewelry in her neck, in her bracelet, because like an Egyptian princess. But what it is like, I want to look at that and remember like all the beautiful battles and all the things that we had to do to build that property when I found it, the diamond in the rough, where I had the vision of what could be, and then going through all the things to build it, all the beautiful people that I met, all the people that I all the awesome things along the journey. And then I sold it, and then it was a success. And then I buy two assets, so that way I'm planting the seeds for the future.
Yeah.
Whatever's left over, we go travel the world. We do all the wonderful things, but ultimately, I'm following my passion,
right?
Which is I'm building beautiful houses for really amazing people that I'm attracting into my life, and I'm not chasing them down and beating them down and trying to force things to people.
That's a couple things popping up right here. Number one, you're building houses. Let's talk about the first question that I was talking about. Like, how did you get into building? Because you don't enter the market at building $30 million homes.
No.
Like, take me back to the very beginning when no one knew who you were, when you didn't have these award-winning homes and properties in these luxury home magazines, by the way, that you're dominating. Take me back to the very beginning. How did it start? Did you come from a rich family? Because somebody out there is going to think you came from money.
No. So basically, I came from hustle, and that's what that's what's great is I feel like I was put on this earth to show everybody that I'm a regular guy from the acreage out in Royal Palm.
Yeah.
And if you just hustle and you're a good person and you do good things can happen to good people. And all you have to do is hustle and be good. I'm very fortunate because I found a good girl very early. So I've spent the last 20 years trying to impress one girl. And in life, people will really get a lot further and a lot faster once they realize that nobody cares. Everybody's trying to impress everybody that nobody gives a shit.
Sure.
So really they need to impress themselves and they need to just be happy inside. So what I did was my wife was graduating Florida State with an engineering degree.
Yeah, my wife's at Florida State. She went to Florida State for a hot minute. Oh, she partied at Florida State.
I pretended to go there for one semester as well. So I have
During the Bobby Bowden
I have
era.
a GED and a real estate license. So I never was quite, I wasn't able to even go there. So, but I lived there for one semester and it was insanely the coolest place ever, but I was not mature enough to.
Was this the Bobby Bowden era?
This was the year after they won the national championship.
Oh, it'd be like
so
99. 99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It was an amazing
She
year.
worked at the bagel shop.
Library in Club Park Avenue.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was so amazing. It was so much fun, but I literally had to leave and never come back.
He was like, I am going to die if I stay
I'm
here.
going to go to jail and death and all the wrong things because I am way too immature to be here. And it's just, so I met my amazing, beautiful wife, and she was graduating Florida State with an engineering degree. And at the time, like I was delivering Chinese food and like literally.
So you weren't even in real estate at this point.
So growing up as a kid, my dad sold real estate. He had a real estate license.
Okay.
And he was, but you know, selling houses in the acreage for $80,000 and selling, you know, so real estate in the 80s and the 90s as a real estate agent, you
Yeah.
know, and my grandma owned Florida Realty of the Palm Beaches, which was the first real estate office in Royal Palm Beach from 1984 until 2005, give or take.
Yeah.
And then I actually got my real estate license in the end of like 2006. So it was right after like their whole era of real estate. So it was kind of like I saw it.
They
and-
planted the seeds.
Oh, I always saw
Yeah.
saw what was there, and
Yeah.
they did good, and they were always, you know. And my grandpa was a G. My grandpa was like a super G. He was I
love that.
Oh, he was. Though.
Hey, that's what I want Becca to call me, Super G. I want his kids to call me that. My son is like, they're gonna name my kids are gonna call you Peepaw. What do you call PP Jason or something like that? I'm like, no, Super G Jason. That's what we're gonna call him.
Super G, dude.
Yeah.
He was in the era where he was in the Korean War. He was the heavyweight boxing champion of the Army.
That's
He was
dope.
in the NFL when they had leather helmets. He was in the stock market when all the dudes like jumped out of the windows when the stock market crashed. And he
Whoa.
goes, F it, I'm moving to Florida. We're going to reinvent ourselves. And that's when they that's when they did the real estate office.
Sure.
And they moved like, you know, so it's like the power of the mind. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
just like, no, I'm not going to jump out of a window like these guys. Like, I'm going to take my family to Florida and reinvent myself. And
Yeah.
so it's like, literally you can be anything that you want to be and you can do anything that you want to do. But ultimately I wanted that was ingrained into me early. So I saw, you know, and it's funny because my dad he always told me that you should be a realtor and you should do this and you should sell real estate. And I was like, I don't want to do the same shit that my dad does. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, so,
yeah.
but then one day he said to me, water, shelter, and food. People need these things. And he goes, you might be one of the best salesmen that I've ever seen because you just get along with people and you're not trying to sell them. You're genuinely like talking to them and trying to find out what they need.
Yeah.
And he goes, they need shelter. And he goes, and that pays you the most commission out of anything that's out there. He goes, so why would you not want to sell that? He goes, I know you don't want to listen to me. I'm your old man. He goes,
Yeah.
but he goes, I'm telling you that that's the way for you. So it did click at that point. I went to real estate school and then I
Yeah.
got my license.
Yeah, good
and
for
then,
you.
but I didn't want to do it for them. I wanted to be my own man. So I literally
respect
I
that.
went to Rent Finders and I literally started at the bottom of Rent Finders, which is like Section 8 rentals where they're walking in the door and
what is Rent Finders? Just for
This
just
was
for
like
people
back
that
in
are jumping-
2006.
Is this thing even exist now, or is it? Okay,
no.
so
This was like a
this
place
something-
on like Okeechobee and I-95, and like people were just walking in the door, and they had like Section 8 rental vouchers for $1,000.
So this isn't even like a website, because I know some people right now
I
listening
don't
to
even
this.
think they
gonna
had
be
damn
like,
computer. I mean, barely they had computers back then, but it was like much different.
This is old school. Like
Old
you walked
school,
in
like
with your feet.
like
and
Craigslist. They had like kind of like, and you would put some ads, but it was like mostly in like the newspaper.
classifieds.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Oh,
this
yeah.
is like the paper print, by the way, in
Yeah.
case you'd never picked up a newspaper before
Yeah, I'm
in your
44,
life.
so I'm
This
a little
would be
older.
in the back.
Listen, everybody wants to get to where I'm at today, but it takes a lot of freaking work.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of deals and a lot of hustle
That's why
and a
you're
lot
here,
of
man.
grind.
That's why
and
you're
everybody
here.
wants the result without the grime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have been through some shit. So
Yeah.
you have to, but that's the whole point of it, is getting out there and getting into it and trying and getting with people that have done it, and then watching them and copying them and getting with them. And it's not about money, it's about experience. And then once you have the experience, then you make the money. It's about just being a good person
Yeah.
and just helping. And what can I do to help you?
Yeah.
Then the help, after the help comes the money. Cause like people can tell if you're about the money. They're like, oh, that person's about the money. Like, yes, I make a lot of money, but it's because I do a lot of help.
Right. And you also put in the work beforehand too.
Yes.
Hey, Christian, can I get a water, please, sir? And so you did Rent Finders. You help people with Section 8 find.
I just found anybody, anything, everything.
Like
it
they
didn't
were
matter
looking
what
for
it
a
was.
rental,
It
or
was
what-
all rentals basically
Yeah,
at that
okay.
point. And then from there, I found there was a classified ad that said $100,000 guarantee sales job, and it was for a company called Buy Owner, and they would have these commercials. Thanks, Buy Owner, and they were huge. They had billboards everywhere. It was like the biggest it was a huge company. So I called for like a year trying to get an interview with that place. I mean,
Okay.
I called and they never called me back, ever. Never called me back. And then finally Kim graduated and was moving back to West Palm. We did 2.5 years long distance while she went to Florida State.
Okay.
And I was here in West Palm.
so this would be like 2001, maybe
this was
2002.
this was 2007.
Okay.
So she was moving back from Florida State, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's
Yeah.
game time!
Yeah.
I really need to like get my stuff together." So I called, and I would leave a message for Buy Owner trying to get an interview, and I said, "My name's Tony Hernandez, and I am the perfect person for this job. I'm going to call every single day until you call me back."
That's what it takes.
And I
That's
was
what it
just like-
takes, bro.
I was just like, I know that there is nobody better for this job than myself.
Yeah.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
That day, I get a call. Come in for the interview. And I was like, oh yeah, baby. so I go in for the interview. And this was like, $100,000 a year job back in 06, 07 was a lot.
Can I stop you right there for a second? So,
Yeah.
so this is the thing that's magical about this story right here. Like, number one, you had already committed to the work. Like this is what I tell everybody. Like, success requires an unbelievable amount of work, and it's always 10 times more than you think it's going to be. By the way, just letting you know. And already, when you made that phone call, like you were already committed. Like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get a job here. Like, I've already committed. Okay, you want me to call every day? I'll do it. You want me to call every day at lunch, and then every day at 3:30? I'll call that too. And if I got to call you 5 times a day, I'm already there in my head. Poof.
Gone.
And that's what I'm saying. Like it sounded like you said it with such conviction. Like, unless I get hit by a bus,
Yeah.
you're going to hear from me tomorrow.
There was no doubt.
Yeah.
She knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. Everybody knew it.
I love that. That's the way I am, man.
I was just
Yeah.
like, you know what? Like, it's time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it
Yeah.
clicked in my head, and I was like,
This is great.
it's it. It's
Yeah.
time. So she calls me back. She interviews me, and she's like, you're good, but you don't have the experience. And she goes, so the real estate office next door is hiring, and that we own it. And we have a deal where we're going to be working in tandem with them and doing a special program where it's Buy Owner and the real estate office, since you're licensed. She goes, go next door and interview with him, and maybe he'll hire you, and maybe you can make it through the back door. And I was just like, I go, all right, he's going to hire me. I'll be right back.
There it is.
So I went over next door. I knocked that interview out of the park. He hired me. I came back and I said, he hired me. She goes, all right, well, we'll see if you can make it through the training. And I said, no doubt. I'll see you on Monday. And it was like, no shit, like 500 hours plus of video training, like sitting. It was a lot. Like, and you're not getting paid. You're just sitting in this little room watching these videos
Yeah.
of just hours of of training. What it was people would either people that didn't want to use a regular realtor would use buy owner, and you would call them to advertise your house until it was sold.
Is this like now looking back? Is this like a 1% listing commission fee? Like, what is it now? I know what it was called then, but what is it?
They're out of business now.
Well, clearly their business model didn't work long term.
It worked amazingly well from 1984 until 2008.
Do you know what came along in 2008? Zillow came along in 2006 with the Zestimate #1. And
These
then
guys were doing $100 million a year in sales.
But what took them out?
The recession, the original owners sold. There's just a lot. There's a lot of little details.
Right.
Listen, business is keeping a business for a long time, running for over 20 something years is hard, because the original person that was running it is not at the driver's seat.
Yeah, I get that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you pass it down to family, you sell it, you do things, whatever, things are different. But I was a one-call closer. So they would basically preset my appointment, and I had to go in there and pitch them on why it was better to spend $4,000 or $5,000 with us on advertising than using a realtor and paying that realtor at the end the commission.
Got it.
Not easy.
Yeah, yeah. So so that's where you started
So
from.
that was my college. That was my sales college. So if you did not keep a 50% closing ratio, you were fired.
Whoa. That's a lot.
So exactly.
That's a lot. That's a pretty high closing ratio.
So imagine that you're trying to tell people like, hey, you're in the nicest way possible. You're too cheap to pay a realtor at the end for them to sell your house, but I want you to pay me up front on your credit card to do all the advertising to sell your house.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So I was like, okay, so what I did was I thought outside of the box, right? I wanted to provide the best service possible. So what I did was I combined the buy owner advertising and the most powerful thing on the planet to sell real estate, which was the MLS and everything that the MLS was connected to. So I bridged those two gaps. I had the highest closing percentage in the history of the company's 25 years, which was 89%.
Whoa. Okay.
So basically 9 out of 10 times I went on an appointment, I closed the deal, because it was never about me. It was about them. And that's all I cared about. I didn't sell the most expensive package. I don't think I ever sold the most expensive package. I didn't give a shit. What I cared about was the person, getting it done. How could I help the person? That's all I cared about. And it wasn't about the money. It was about how could I get it done? And I would get yelled at. Why didn't you sell the more expensive package? They didn't need it. It was more about the person. And that was the biggest grief with me was like, you could have sold more. You could have sold a higher package. And I was like, sure, I could have, but like they didn't need it.
It reminds me of the Incredibles. You remember the Incredibles? The guy is the insurance guy, and Mr. Incredible, and he's going around, and he's like, "Listen, look, here's all you need to say. Go over here to this office, talk to Barbara down at left hall, third door on the left, and this is all you're going to say. Take this note with you. Don't tell anybody I gave it to you."
I just wanted to do good.
Yeah.
And once again, if you do good, money will follow. Money is not real.
God is real, man. God is real.
For sure.
And if you do good with the intention of doing good, I'm telling you, every single time he comes back and it says, "I got you, dog. I got you."
Giving is the most powerful thing in the world, and you're giving your intention of being good. You know what I mean? Like, because like, if you want something, give it. You know, if you want love and you're like, oh man, I don't have any love, give love and you'll get love. It's so crazy. And like, if you don't have any money, it sounds weird, but like find somebody that really doesn't have any money and be like, yo, I got you. And like, here, like, I'll help you.
Yeah.
And like, put some intention and some work. Like all of a sudden you'll find money because you're just doing good. And like, it sounds crazy.
No.
It just is. So like, everybody wants everything. Just do it. Lead by example. The reason why I'm doing stuff is because I'm not waiting for someone to do it for me.
Yeah.
I had a realization where nobody is going to help me. It's me. And that's okay. I trust myself. I believe in myself.
Yeah.
I know that I have my own back and I have good intentions, and it's me and my wife, and I will do for us. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I believe in her, and she's the smartest, most beautiful, amazing person ever. And I will try extra hard for her. But I care what I think, and I care what she thinks. I don't care what anybody else thinks. And
Yeah.
that's where everybody else gets all caught up. Like, this is great and I'm happy to do it, but like, you don't ever see me doing selfies. And I'm not,
No,
and I'm not
you're-
hating on anybody that
Yeah.
does, because
No, I get
everybody's
that.
great and I like looking at them because everybody's hot. But
Yeah.
like, you know what I
I
mean?
get
But like,
that, yeah.
like, I'm trying to show like the houses, and I'm trying to show the good, and I'm showing my beautiful wife, and I'm
Yeah.
showing like all the great things that I'm grateful for. And I'm just always just try to live in a state of gratitude, because if you're grateful, you're going to look for more things that you're grateful for. If you're pissed off, you're going to look for more things that you're pissed off for.
Yeah.
And then people were like, well, how do you stay like that? And I go, well, I call it the seaweed of Peanut Island. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm a boater. I like to go to Peanut Island. Peanut Island's one of my favorite places, right? But we're out there having the best day in the whole wide world, chilling in the water. It couldn't get any better. And then sometimes the seaweed comes in, and you're just like, oh, seaweed.
Yeah.
Like, and then if you fight the seaweed, the sea lice, and you get more seaweed on you, and you're fighting it, and you're like trying to push it, and it breaks up, and you're just like, the more you fight it, the more seaweed, and you're just like, why? This is the best day ever, and there's all this seaweed. You're just like, come on, and you're like, and you end up leaving, and you're just like, this is horrible. And then I'm just like, guys, like, just move out of the way, just let it float by, and it doesn't bother you. And when the negative and the shit comes into my life, which it happens, I don't fight it. I'm just like, it's okay, and I let it go, because you don't know, that person could just have a really bad day. Their mom could have died. My dog had a stroke yesterday, so I was freaking out yesterday.
Oh, brother, I'm sorry.
It wasn't a stroke, though. It's like an inner ear thing, and like I thought he had a stroke, and I was crying because I had to put one of my dogs down this year. It was like,
Oh man.
so I thought
Mine's getting up there.
So I had two 16-year-old Westies this year. I had to put one down. So I thought that he had a stroke, but he has like this little inner ear thing. So we gave him Dramamine, and he straightened out. But like he was like spinning in a circle and doing all kinds of stuff. So
Whoa.
So I was a mess yesterday. So like I was even short with people, and so you just don't know. So people could just be really just having like a bad day. So like just let it go. Like
Yeah.
it's okay. Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna. But if you fight it, then you're just gonna. So like people yell at me sometimes about the houses, or they yell, or it's never really my homeowners, because I try to do the right thing, but it's the neighbors, right? The neighbors are like, while I'm building the house, they're like, oh, your person drove through my grass, and they did this. And
I was gonna get to all that.
So they yell at me, and they'll scream at me, and they'll just go nuts, and I just let them dump it all on me, and then at the end, I'm just like, you're right. You're 100% right. None of that would happen if I wasn't here. And I put a camera up, a deer camera, so I can show everything. And I go, if it was my guys or if it wasn't my guys, you're right. And I'm going to make it right. And when I leave here, your house is going to look better than it did when I got here. And I know it's a pain in the butt, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to make it right. And that's what we do.
I think that's incredible. It's contrary to, and I haven't even gotten to the questions that I actually want to get to in this interview, man. But I mean, it's a conversation, not really an interview. I think that that's contrary to what many people that are looking at homes on the internet, and they're looking at very large properties like the ones that you build, 10 million, 5 million, 20 million. I don't think you build a $5 million home, actually, now that I think about it, but 10 million and up. People from the Midwest that live in a $300,000 home, or people that live in, let's say, Alabama that live in a $200,000 home, right? Or somebody that lives in $1 million home. They're thinking that somebody that built this house is either, taking advantage of people, or they're just not a nice person, or they're just all about the money. And, obviously your ideology, the way you roll, I should say, is contrarian to what, most people think that are building $30 million homes really is, you know? I mean, it's like,
the truth will set you free.
Yeah.
Just tell the truth. I tell them right at the door. Or listen, I paid $5 million for this lot. I built this house for $5 million.
Yeah.
I'm going to make $5 million.
Yeah.
But I will never come back and ask you for another dollar again. And this is going to be a great experience.
Yeah.
And anything that you want to do from this point on, I'll connect you with all of my people. And you're going to get my cost, which nobody is going to do.
Right.
So I'm not going to cost plus you from here on out.
Yeah.
We're going to be family. This is a marriage, not a one night stand. So I'm going to really take care of you. And I know you don't think today that you have equity, but I'm not here to squeeze all the juice off this. I want
Right.
you to have a good experience. And I want you to remember this negotiation, that I'm not here to squeeze all the money out. I'm
Yeah.
here to give you a good deal. And you may not think it today, but I promise you in 6 months, you're going to be like, wow, this guy made $4-5 million. I'm up $1 million, $2 million. This was amazing experience. I've
Yeah.
had a lot of fun, and we all made money. And then they call me and they go, hey, do you need another investor?
Yeah.
And this is how the only investors that I have are people that have bought my houses.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that I organically was able to grow just from people that had bought my houses, because I was like, hey, I'm making money, but I'm going to be a good person and I'm going to do the right things. And I don't hide it, but I also treat them well. And I hold back a little bit of money. So that way, for that first year of warranty, that I can fix everything. And then I buy a secondary warranty. So that way they can see that I care. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And like that way, it's a house, so shit's going to happen. So
Yeah,
I want to
of
make
course.
sure that we have like a small contingency plan, because I'm not about the money. If you're truly about the experience and doing it right, and then you plan accordingly, because you're using your brain on, you make money in real estate when you buy. So you have to buy good deals.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about that for just 1 second. So I love everything that we're saying. Tell me about the first deal. We were talking about gratitude and being grateful. I bet you're grateful for that very first flip you came across. Like how did you how, I guess, because, I want to get to the point where you just had this moment that you were not selling real estate. You were like, I think I could do something more. Like, what is that moment? Like, take me there where you saw this piece of property and you were like, I could take this and turn it into more money. Like, what was that eye-opening moment? Because when you told me about, you talked about how to flip notes, like at that speech, is that
Yeah.
part of it? Like,
Well-
take me to that deal.
Well, I was flipping houses from 2008 until 2012 at the foreclosure auction.
What was the first flip you did, though? I guess is what I'm getting at, because I've thought about flipping homes, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like what? I don't know what to look for. I've thought about doing a couple things, but what was that first time that you took the jump? Because at some point, you had to go from rentals to selling properties to being like, I want to buy this. I can flip this. What was that?
So
What was the address?
So in 2008, I sold a house for $4 million, which I was doing all the, so I went from doing the Section 8 rental thing, and then I had the buy owner job. And in 2007, I watched The Secret. And that was part of the training.
My wife loves The Secret.
The
Like
Secret
loves
too.
it. Like, so we've listened to that one,
Yeah.
right, by Ron. Yeah. Hold on. Let me pause right here for just a moment for our sponsorship of our show. So today, this show is sponsored by Recharge. Now, look, if you are addicted to energy drinks, or you like to put in a lot of work, because flipping houses takes a lot of work and a lot of focus, this product is for you. Or if you're just that person out there that is trying to pull your act together, right? You can't stay focused. Can't stay in the game. This is the product for you. It has caffeine. It has ashwagandha. It has taurine. It has a couple of other plants in it that will allow you to focus. Now, here's the cool thing about this. I think a lot of people drink caffeine in order to quote unquote wake up your brain. But unfortunately, you guys are drinking like Celsius and Monsters and Red Bulls, and it's waking up your body, and it's giving you like heart palpitations, anxiety, sugar crashes. Dog, you ain't gonna get that with this. Like, you're gonna take 2 scoops of this, 0 sugar, and this is gonna like wake you up and get you focused and in the zone, because that's what you really want. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to, what is that? What is it, Brookie? I can't even read that. My wife. Recharge.jasonrash.com. You're going to go to recharge.jasonrash.com and grab this product, especially if you want to be a high performer and you want to perform at a high level and stay in the game longer than anyone else. Okay, back to the show. Oh, and by the way, before we go back to the show, I'm going to give you a bottle of this too. It's great. It's all plants. It's literally all plants. You're going to love it. You're going to call me in 2 weeks, or you're going to knock on my door and say, Jason, I need more of this stuff. It's incredible. I built like 47 homes since I've had it.
I'm ready. I'll give it to my wife too. She actually drinks coffee. So
yeah, it's great. You're going to love it. So take me to
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So take me to that first deal.
So basically, I watched The Secret in 2007,
Yeah.
and I became obsessed with trying to make $100,000
In a day, in a month,
year,
in a year. Okay.
working for buy owner.
Okay.
Right? So I got that job, and then
Yeah.
I was out there pounding, and I became laser beam focused on making $100,000 that year.
You know what? You didn't have the recharge. That's what it was.
sure.
You needed the recharge. You would have made it in a week if you had the recharge.
Well, this was different times. This was almost 20 years ago.
Okay,
So
fair
that's-
enough.
That's
That's fair.
I was pretty stoked about it. But that was right when Kim came home. So I did it. And then at the end of the year, I was pissed because I go, why did I focus so hard on making $100,000 a year? At that exact moment, I go, I'm going to become a millionaire. And then I changed my entire mindset and I said, thank you, God. Thank you, my boy Chris, who passed away, for making me a millionaire. And I decided at that moment, I'm going to become a millionaire. So at that moment, I changed my entire mindset from the 100 grand to the millionaire.
Yeah.
And then that's when I decided. And then I was working, hustling, keep doing the same thing. And then that's when the wealthiest guy that I knew at the time reached out to me and said, hey, I would like you to find me a house on the water. I told my wife forever that I was going to buy a house on the water. And I went out and I found a $4 million house on the water on the direct intercoastal. And it was a brand new waterfront spec house that nobody had lived in. And it was Pimp Daddy. And I got it for $4.25 million, and I ended up making $70,000 commission. Now, I was already making $100,000 a year, so I didn't need necessarily the $70,000 for anything. So instead of just blowing it, what I did was I went to the courthouse every single day, and I was watching what was happening. I was watching the auction every day. So I literally... I'll never forget the day the first day that I bid, I went to bid and I almost threw up in my mouth and I had to like swallow it. Cause I was like you said, like, you're like, all right, am I going to do this? And like my buddy next to me was just like, do it. And then I was like, and I bid and I was so like, oh, and I just did it. And then I bought my first one and then I sold it. I sold that paper basically that day and I did it 2 more times. And then a month later, the guy that bought the house from me called me to his office and he goes, what did you do with the money that you made from selling my house? And I said, well, I bought 3 different properties and I sold them the same day. And he goes, I know, I've been watching. He goes, how would you like to be business partners?
Whoa.
And I said, Ron, you're the wealthiest guy I know. And when I grow up, I want to be just like you. You're damn right. I'd like to be your business partner. And he goes, all right, I'll start you with 600,000. Let's see what you can do. So that's how that started.
That's amazing. And you taught yourself how to do this.
What are you going to, yeah. I mean, you
It's
know,
amazing.
growing up till I watched my dad try to do it. And like,
Yeah.
I saw like, you know, and then did real estate. I flipped houses, you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
I sold houses. So it's like, it's not rocket science. Like
Right.
I just was like, you know what, I'm going to do it, you know? And then I fixed them up. Me and my buddy painted them and we did all the stuff ourselves. And then after the first 3, Ron was like, he saw the numbers and he's like, all right. He goes, great job. He goes, start buying until I tell you to stop. So I was like, okay, I've got a green light. So I went in there and I started buying. I bought more. And then I realized that I wasn't capable to do the fixing necessary. So one of my buddies that I played baseball with, his dad was the OG like contractor. So his name was Dave Bowden and his dad's name was Big Dave.
Yeah.
So I was like, Big Dave, I was like, if I hire you, he had his own big landscaping company. I was like, Big Dave, if I hire you to do these remodels, I was like, I'm going to flip some houses. I was like, I know this isn't your thing, but I know you know it. I remember when you built your house, I was like, you want to make some money? And he goes, I'm down to have some fun. So he did the first like 10 houses for me, like all the and I'm talking like I was ripping out kitchens and doing like pretty cool stuff. So it was really, really fun.
So at this point, you were starting to hit your groove. So you were starting.
This was like 08, like.
Right. So you were buying the property, like you said earlier.
Buying them sight unseen.
Right. So you were getting the money on the buy. Like you were making your money right on the buy right there. No? Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm buying them at the courthouse steps.
On the
sight
with the note.
unseen.
Got it.
Paying for them, seeing if anybody was inside them, not knowing if someone was in them. I'd have to hire a lawyer, get a writ of possession, get them kicked out by the police, then go in there, then fix them up, then get the title, then sell it. So then I didn't get paid all the way until we saw actually
On the exit.
I got paid once a year, and I didn't know that until actually I started. I just said, okay, I'm going to go. Yes, we're business partners, no problem. And I went to work. I didn't ask any questions. I just went to work. I wasn't about the money. I was about the opportunity.
Yeah.
So I went to work.
You know, so many people, and just to pause right there and really echo that, you know, so many people don't realize that opportunity is the thing that'll save you, man. Like if you go like I would take an opportunity over salary or money any day, like an incredible opportunity. Because like you said earlier, man, I believe in me. Yeah. Like I know that I have the capacity and the will to be able to bring something to fruition. That's the reason why I reached out to you. That's the reason why I hunted you down. That's the reason I showed up and I had never even met you. And I'm about to meet this builder that built these 8 to 10 million. At the time, I think it was a $10 million property, you know, and it's a situation where so many people, and then I'm going to sink my own money into this because I walked in, I was like, oh my God, I believe in this. Like I could sell these. Like I walked right in the door. I was like, I could sell this. I could sell it. I didn't have anybody in mind I could sell it to, but I was like, I could sell this. Guaranteed for a fact I could sell it. Knew it from out of shadow of a doubt. Now, I have not, that has not come to fruition, but we are getting closer.
It 1000% will. Do you know why?
Thank you.
Because you see that I've done it.
Yeah.
And in life, all it takes is to see somebody do it
Yeah.
in real life that's right in front of you. And you go, oh, that's just a regular old person that puts his pants on just like I do. And if he does it, then I can do it.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about me is I've inspired so many of my friends and family to do amazing things. And I think success is not your house. It's not your car. It's not your boat. Success is you passing on your success to your friends and family and watching them become successful and then passing their success to their friends and family.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching the success that I'm passing on to all the people around me. That shit is so cool.
Yeah,
watching them buy new trucks and new cars and new houses and then have employees and then make them into management and then have that. It just, I have chills. That is so cool. My sister's my general contractor.
Yeah.
What a beast.
When you said that at that event, the YPN event, and you said that to her, I felt that. Like I felt that like that's something that you had always wanted for. Maybe it was a role she had to step into, or maybe it was a role that she needed to learn some more stuff to be able to get it. I don't know what it was, but it felt like she had earned that spot, and she wanted her to be there.
She made that spot.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
She was one of my field superintendents. She was basically just like a management position.
Okay.
And then I had other general contractors that I was basically paying like a cost plus situation because I'm big. You know, I had 10 going at one time. So I had 2 different GCs that I'm paying cost plus, but they're all my subs because they're all my guys that I've been with for 10, 15 years because I cultivate good guys and I keep them close to me and I help them grow their company. And then the shitty ones, seaweed or peanut island.
They seaweed the peanut island.
And I don't fight them, but they realize, I did something wrong. And if they come back, they come back. If not, no big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I keep the good ones good. So I didn't, my GCs were doing a good job, but she was one of my supers that was like managing it for a couple of years. And she was kind of seeing that I was being taken advantage of, and they didn't have my back, and nobody was really there for me. They were just kind of just dollar signs and just slamming me and slamming me and slamming me. And then one day she showed up and goes, I have the biggest GC license that you can get, and I'm going to show you how badass this can be. And I said, I got your back. Let's do it together. And I will show you how we can do this together, and I'm going to make you a millionaire. So literally, she has outperformed the men big time. Granted, I didn't pile the 10 houses on her, but now we have 10 houses.
Yeah.
So, but she's kicking ass. The support staff behind her is amazing.
That's awesome.
My wife's running the office. I've got a team of lionesses that are just unstoppable. My youngest brother is a superintendent out in the field. My mom works at Illustrated, and she's my input, and she's doing a lot of work with us as well. So to have the whole family involved
that's amazing.
Amazing. So I didn't want to work for my family, but I want to work with my family.
I get that.
It's a different dynamic now that I'm 44, I guess.
Yeah. Let's see some of the houses. I
didn't mean to railroad your thing where I know you had questions and I can't help that my mind is a butterfly.
You're all good. Let's pull. I want to pull up one of these houses. But give me the 107 bowsprit here. Like this is. Just bring them all up. Yeah, just bring it up.
Oh, the before was an old dusty brick house.
Yeah, so pull up that one on the top left right there for me.
But I actually
Christian.
rented that to the third baseman for the Houston Astros for 3 months before I knocked it down. And him and his family were so sweet and very, very amazingly nice people. And they were like, "You're going to knock this thing down?" And I said, "Yeah, come back next season and wait till you see what's here."
It'll be dirt. Yeah.
No, not dirt. It'll be the new house by the time you come back.
So check this out. So he bought this piece of dirt right here for $4 million. I mean, this is a nice house. Can we make it bigger? Or is there any way to make it bigger? No? Yeah, I just want everyone to see how this looks. So this piece of dirt right here, like this is what we call vision right here. On the water, he saw something here. Now throw up the bowsprit of what it is now. He just came in with the bulldozer, just knocked it down and built this bad beauty right here. I mean, look at that. Look at that. That is like something out of Minecraft. I mean, it looks incredible. My son looked at that and he was like, "Dad, that looks like something out of Minecraft." I was like, "You're probably right, kid." So you bought that piece of dirt for $4 million. You built that house for $3 million and turned it out for $13 million in 12 months. That is staggering. Like
a little more than 3, but yeah, it was a good one. It makes
staggering.
Look how pretty she is.
She's
a good-looking girl.
She is.
Look
I
at
mean,
that.
it's staggering.
So my theory is build it as if I'm gonna live in it, and that has an upstairs master, a downstairs master. It's got that room right there where the waterfall is a downstairs party room where you could watch football and hang out and sit there and watch all the boats go on the big intercoastal.
Yeah.
And that house is so cool because you could park a 100-foot boat and still have a view of the intercoastal and put your 40-foot boat on the lift. It's just, the house is, I love them. I love them.
Clearly.
You know what I mean? And it was just so,
love them.
it's so fun to design a house for the lot. You know, and so many people are trying to build a house for as cheap as they can, and I try to build the house as cool as I can. And the guy that's got $13 million, he knows it. He's going to look at that and be like, "Oh, you're just trying to be cheap, and you're just trying to throw this up and try to throw that up." The guys that come here, they go, "You got a secret waterfall in the roof that changes every damn color. You got multiple fire pits everywhere. You got a pool that's, got stools, and you got benches, and upstairs living room, downstairs living room." Because I want this to be the family house where your kids come if they're 4 or if they're 40.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to watch the same shows as your kids. So now you can have them upstairs and downstairs. And I know that these houses are a second or a third or a fourth house. So this way, when they're in town, they all want to be there and they're not stuck watching the same shows.
At that beauty.
It's just.
So this is where you're going now. Like, this is the direction now. Like, talk to me about this real quick.
Well, in life, you got to keep trying. You
Yeah.
got to try to evolve.
beautiful.
You got to try to be better. You got to try. So I hired BE Design, which is one of the top dog architects out of Royal Palm Yacht Club.
Yeah.
And I've always copied them for years. So I've literally just copied their houses.
Yeah.
And just
But now you're like, I'm just going to hire them.
And well, my buddy Mike Hummel that owns one of the best tile companies around, and he does all my tile. He's best friends with them.
Yeah.
So and they introduced us, and I just was like, you know what? These lots in Jupiter are so awesome that I want to try to build a landmark.
Yeah. I mean, that's a staggering piece of I would call that a trophy. It's like it has its own personality to it. Like it's just, they're incredible, man. Like incredible.
I feel like people are going to drive by and be like, "That's a landmark." You know what I mean? Be like, "Hey, let's meet behind those houses." You know what I mean? They'll remember those.
Yeah,
it just makes me feel good to be changing the waterfront. Like the
market maker is what you said. Like the first time I had ever heard that word is whenever you said that, and we were over on it starts with an L. Over near Anchorage. Lagoon.
Yes.
We're on Lagoon.
Well, sometimes you got to make the market, and luckily I've done so many houses that I've made a market. So. Sometimes I come into a neighborhood and there's been no sales, and it
takes courage.
It takes vision.
Yeah, vision and courage.
You just got to be like, would I live there? And if the answer is yes, then go for it. You know what I mean? And just, it's common sense. Like I think, you know what I think? I think this world is lacking a ton of common sense. And I think it's making a comeback. But honestly, have some common sense and think and realize that you are not the only person on this planet. Try to have the common sense to realize when you're talking to other people, see their side of what the situation may be. Don't only see your side of things and be like, "Oh, no, this is me. I always try to see the neighbor side of
Yeah.
things, my wife's side of things, my sister's side of things, or other people's side of the coin. It really helps me.
No, I totally get that. I had dropped another deal in here. Christian, do you have it real quick? I wanted to talk about something real, because I was like, it's like your mind, the way you think and the way you see things is pretty awesome. And I just want everyone to know, like, I've done some stuff with Tony, and he's 1,000% legit in everything he says. This is not just smoke and mirrors. I was doing cold calls, and I came across this property up on the Loxahatchee. You know which one I'm talking about. And it was when they had made an offer unbeknownst to me a while back, about 6 months ago. Well, I came across this property. It was an expired lead. There was an older house there, and I was like, oh my God. I texted Tony. I was like, hey man, would this be a great property for you? Because obviously, clearly Tony only buys on the waterfront, and it has to be big water views is what he says to me. So I've always kept that in mind. Well, I sent this property over him on Google Maps, and he says to me, I'll never forget the moment. I said, yeah, man, we made an offer on that. And I said, well, I'm going to see where this guy's at. And I said, cool. So I called this guy. It's a prominent attorney here in town. And I called him. I tracked down the wrong cell phone number. And then I figured out who the landowner was. And I tracked him down and all sorts of stuff.
I do remember.
Yeah. And I tracked everybody down. And I was going to call him every single day until I got an answer from him. I'll never forget that moment. We got a few moments here before we wrap up, because we're clearly going to have to do part 2. But I called him, and then you were like, hey, look, let's make an offer, and then you're going to get X amount of commission. And I was just like, I mean, it was a lot of, I mean, it was like over $100,000 of commission. And like, you were willing to do that for me. And I was trying to track down and pull the deal together. But I mean, like, everything you say is legit, and it's not just smoke and mirrors. And, you know, that's another reason why I want to have you on the show, man. You're a good person. You know, you are who you say you are. Like, I know that because I've dealt with you. I've had conversations with you. Anybody could have easily said something like, hey, listen, we're going to cut it here and you're not going to get this, because you know what I mean? But you stand by your word and you stand to who you are, man. But we're getting tossed out of a podcast studio because we're running out of time.
Well, all you have is your word.
Yeah.
So be a good person.
Yeah.
Do good. Good things happen. And if you focus on what your passion is and what people need, and like genuinely not yourself, and literally just be a good person and be genuine in the questions that you ask, and show people how important it is to actually own assets. Because if they don't own assets, they will literally just go around the board and collect their $200. But be a good person and be genuine, and money will hit you in the head like a brick, because you're being good and connecting the dots from a place of good.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
100%.
Are you open to a part 2? Because I didn't get to any of the
I feel bad. I didn't answer any of the questions that you want, because I'm a butterfly. So, of course, I got your back, brother. No problem.
Look at all these notes,
man.
man.
No worries. You're good. I got you, dude.
Yeah, fantastic.
For sure.
I appreciate you coming on
man,
today.
no worries,
you provided
brother.
a lot of value. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you so much, everybody, for watching and tuning in to the Game of Real Estate. We'll catch you next time. For this episode, the Game of Real Estate. Remember, this game rewards those who stay in it to win it, and I'm here to keep you ahead of the competition. If you're feeling pumped and ready to make your next big move, hit that follow button so that you never miss an episode. And hey, don't just listen, share this podcast. Screenshot this episode, post it to the stories, and tag me at Jason Rash. Go ahead and do that now for a repost and a personal shout out. This is the Game of Real Estate, where winners are made, deals are closed, and the hustle never stops. I'll see you back on the field next time. Game on. Let's go.